Hello, Elly here from Thankful Flow Yoga. Thank you for being here for another one of my YouTube flows. Today I'm focusing this flow on being an anti-desk stretch. However, as I always say, this is good for anyone who wants a really nice stretch through the shoulders, upper body and the hips. So as we know, just a little bit of a brief explanation. Anybody who's sitting at a desk a lot, it's quite common to get tight glutes, hamstrings, hips and shoulders. Also, you can get sort of deviations with your posture from being sat at a desk. So these poses are sort of counter movements or movements to counteract that. So we're going to be doing the opposite range of movement in some cases to what you would be doing a lot throughout the day if you are sat at a desk, etc. And what I'm going to do today is this is going to be in a sort of Hatha style flow. So it means that we're not doing loads of sun salutations. We're going to work through just a sequence of these different stretches or postures. And I'm comfortable seated position. So whether that's cross-legged or legs out in front, it really doesn't matter. And the first thing that I'm going to suggest is grabbing a cushion or a blanket. If you've got yoga props and blocks and a yoga strap, that's amazing, grab those. If you don't, doesn't matter. Get something that's equivalent to a strap, I would recommend, so maybe a dressing gown tie, and have those to hand. So, the cushion or the blanket could be popped under your hips. So if you're finding that you're getting a lot of rounding through the spine and you're struggling to come into a neutral spine position, then this is where we need to start with the pelvis. So we need to get a block or a cushion underneath your hips and get your pelvis neutral so that we can get your spine neutral so that we can open across the chest. Whether your legs are out in front or crossed, you can still do that same thing, supporting yourself there. And then we will take some shoulder rolls to begin with. So inhale, exhale, release. So start taking 2 more of these shoulder rolls here. And then take a stretch over to the right side, so opening up through the left side body. Use your right hand on the mat to support you. And flow over to the opposite side, opening through the right side body. Just some quick stretches here, just to slightly warm into the class. And then we're going to start off today with half Lord of the Fish. So bring your right leg out in front of you and bend your left knee in, and the sole of my left foot is on the mat. And again, if you want to take some support on your hips here, under your hips, you absolutely can. So we want to come into a neutral spine position here. Now, you could either keep this left foot on near the inside of your right thigh, or I want you to see how it feels to maybe cross it over to the outside of your right thigh. So just see how that feels. If this feels really too strong on your hip, that's absolutely fine. Just bring it back to the inside and we can work here with this. So I will just twizzle actually so you can see exactly what I'm doing with my leg. So I've got my leg hooked over, but you might have your leg here. So again, you can either work here with the legs in half Lord of the Fish. You're probably feeling the stretch through your hip already here. Now, the next option is from here, you could be bending this right leg. So we're bending this in. So we're getting a little bit twizzled up already. That's just an option. You could keep this right leg lengthened if that works better for you. But again, you might find that you're now feeling a stretch with both hips going on. So see how that feels. Find the foundation with your legs first that works for you. And really take which option feels right. Not which option is your maximum, going to your maximum limits. The option that feels right in your body, where you can feel a stretch, just maybe a little bit of a challenge, but where you're you're not adding any tension, because we want to release tension rather than add any further tension at all here. So from here, take your left hand to the mat behind you to support you. And then we're going to inhale, reach the right arm up to the sky, lift up and out of the waist. And then on the exhale, we're twisting to the left. So as you twist to the left, you bring this right arm down, and maybe this right arm is hugging the left knee. Maybe it's hooking to the outside of your left knee, coming into a really deep twist, and your gaze is coming over the left shoulder or in that direction. And breathe here. On every inhale, lift and lengthen, and on the exhale, release the breath. Let go of any resistance. Keep breathing into the twist. Now, one further progression for anybody who would like to give it a go, just optional here, is that you could lengthen out this left leg and take the right hand to the left leg and then to the left foot, and then reach this left arm out behind you. And then you're sending your gaze out towards the left fingertips here. Keeping the spine nice and neutral as you can, finding the length. And start to release the leg, release from the twist. And you can slowly start to unravel the body. And then we'll start to work into the opposite side. So this time we start with the left leg lengthened, foot's flexed. Bend the right knee in. Sole of the foot's on the mat. Maybe you're staying and working here. Maybe the right foot's hooking to the outside of the left thigh. Maybe you then from here are able to bend this left leg in. But if you're not, then it really doesn't matter. So find your leg foundation first. That's the most important thing. Then we're bringing the right hand to the mat behind us to support you. Inhale, sweep the left arm up to the sky, lengthen through the spine. As you exhale, twist to the right this time. As you float this left arm down, maybe it's hugging the right leg, maybe it's hooking on the outside of the right leg as you come into a deep twist here. Gaze is following, coming over the right shoulder. Keep breathing, finding space on the inhales and releasing on the exhale. Maybe this left hand's coming to the outside of the right foot and you're lengthening through the right leg and bringing this right hand away, reaching behind you. That is just an option, doesn't mean that you need to be here. Wherever you are, keep breathing, keep making space on the inhale and releasing on the exhale. And slowly start to release and unravel. Well done. And place the soles of your feet on the mat, knees are bent and hands are out behind you. And you can window wipe the knees from side to side here and take a release through the legs. So now we're going to come into Gomukasana, cow face pose. So Right. Now we're going to come into Gomukasana cow face pose. So again, I'll talk you through the different leg options. So we'll get into our the right variation with our legs first, and then I'll talk you through the upper body. So again, the whole idea of this is we're doing an alternate range of movement with the legs, getting this stretch through the hips and the shoulders that we wouldn't usually get. So this is why it may feel for some of us a little bit awkward, a little bit uncomfortable. But this is really kind of the whole point, is so that we can get these stretches. And over time, consistent practice, you will get used to it. So we'll start off with the legs. So again, I'll work through here. There's a couple of different ways that you can come into this. So if you're coming in from seated, we're going to lengthen through the right leg, and we're hooking this left leg over the top. And what we're doing is we want to ideally work towards aligning the knees so that this left knee is roughly above the right knee here. So again, if you're not getting this range of movement with the hip, with the leg, that's absolutely fine. Just come to a place that works for you. So maybe you're looking a little bit like this. Absolutely fine, work there. Maybe you are able to bend in this right leg and we start to stack the knees. So can you see my knees are aligned? And you'll be feeling that this is a strong on the hip. So this is a really strong internal hip rotation that you're getting here. So maybe you're coming here. Another way that you could see if you can work into Gomukasana is coming into it from a tabletop position. So you could be in tabletop and maybe you're hooking this right leg around and you bring your feet out to the side and make space to sit the hips back and come into the Gomukasana position from here. So see how that feels, but as I just demonstrated, you could have one of the legs lengthened. So that's how we come into this pose with the legs. Now from here, we're going to come into the stretch with the arms. So the first option is to reach this left arm up. So left leg's on top, left arm's coming up, and we're bending the elbow and sending the hand down towards the shoulders, towards the back. And then the right arm's coming up and you're bringing this right hand to your left elbow and feeling the stretch and the opening here. Okay, so this could be the first option for you. Now, I will demonstrate what we could do if you've got your strap. So what we're doing is, so this left hand, we want to be holding the strap with our left hand. And I'm bringing this right arm around. So what's happening here is we're getting an internal rotation with the right shoulder. And the right hand is also reaching, coming to the strap at the back. And we're feeling a lovely stretch here. And you could be really pulling or lightly pulling on the strap with your hands and feeling into the stretch. And maybe you're walking your hands closer together using the strap here. Maybe your hands are meeting each other in this stretch here with the arms and they're coming together. So we're combining this with the left leg over the top, getting the hip stretch, and then also getting this stretch through the arms, and then keeping the ribs tucked in. Sometimes it's easy to flare the ribs here, so keep the ribs tucked in, so light engagement through the core, and really feeling this opening and stretch through the shoulders. Could feel quite intense here. And start to release the arms. Keep the legs in place And again, whichever option you come into, if you've got one, the legs lengthened, we can still do the same thing here. We're going to come into a fold. So inhale, lift the ribs away from the hips, lengthen through the spine, and then start to walk the hands out, folding over. So again, you feel a really intense stretch here through the hips. It doesn't matter how deep you're coming into the fold. It doesn't matter where you are. Come to a place where you can feel it in your body. And breathe there. Inhale, come up from the fold. Unravel. Bring the soles of your feet to the mat. Take a little release through the hips. Swish the legs from side to side. And then we'll come to the other side. So we're going to move into this a little bit quicker this time. So perhaps work through lengthening the left leg first. Cross this right leg over. See how close you can get to the knees aligning. Maybe you're working here with the legs. Maybe this left leg's folding in, and then you're reaching these knees over, stacking the knees on top of each other, or working towards that point here. Maybe you're testing it out to come into it from tabletop again. Find your leg foundations. Then this time, right leg's over the top. So the right arm's coming up, and then this hand's coming down the back, the left arm's coming to the right elbow and opening up through the shoulders. Then you've got the option, if you've got a strap, to use your strap here and using the strap behind. So you've got the right hand and the left hand on the strap. And maybe you can find the grip with your hands. So coming into the stretch here, breathing into it, finding some comfort within the discomfort. Sometimes it's the poses that we dislike the most sometimes those are the ones that we need the most. Just remembering that. Well done. Start to release the hands, keep the legs in place, and we'll come into our fold. So walking the hands out in front and melting forwards over the legs. Really strong stretch through the hips that should be feeling here. Keep connecting back to your inhales and your exhales. Start to come up from the fold and unravel. Well done. Plant the soles of the feet on the ground again. Take a little swish from side to side and then come into tabletop position on your mat. And we'll work through some cat and cow. So inhale, lift the gaze, open across the chest. Shoulders are in line with the wrists, hips in line with the knees. Exhale, drop the head round through the spine, come up and out the shoulders, tuck the tailbone in. Inhale, lift the head, shine the heart forwards. Exhale, drop the head round the spine. And one more, flow with your breath. Lift the head, space across the shoulders. Exhale, drop the head round through the spine. Meet back in a neutral position. And then from here, take some light engagement through the core And then start to walk the hands out in front of you, coming into puppy pose, extended puppy. But we really want to keep the hips above the knees. So we're not moving the hips. We really want this movement to come from the shoulders. So this is coming from opening through the shoulders and the upper spine, the cervical spine. So we're melting the forehead and the chest down to the mat whilst we keep the hips as they are. Keep light engagement through the core to support the spine, support the rest of your body. And although we are melting the head and the chest towards the mat, that does not mean that it needs to be on the mat. That is just the direction that we're coming in. Come to a place where you can feel the opening and the stretch in your own body. Keep breathing here. Well done. Inhale, start to walk the hands in, release from your puppy pose. And start to take a gentle rock back and forth. Massaging through the wrists. And then bring the hips down to the mat. Bring the legs, so bring the soles of the feet to the mat, knees bent in. And we're going to bring the arms out behind us. And you can either have the fingertips facing away, or you can have them facing in. It really doesn't matter, so take what feels right for you. And then we're going to come into incline plane pose. So there's two different ways of doing this. So we'll do the first option and see how that feels first. So find your hand and your feet foundation, first of all. And then what we're going to do on the inhale is lift the hips away from the mat as we push the hips up to the sky, so really strong through the legs and the glutes. And then maybe your gaze comes towards the ceiling. So dropping the head back slightly. And this is really stretching through the shoulders and the arms. This pose is really good for the connective tissue, the fascia, the nerves in the arms and the shoulders. Exhale, release, send the hips back down to the mat with control. And you can release the hands and the arms, take a little shake out, anything you need, release. Bring them back into position. And you can either come into that option again, or if you want to add in a little bit more challenge, you can lengthen the legs out in front. And again, you can have the hands facing either way that feels best for you. And then inhale, lift the hips away from the mat. Engage through the legs, and then maybe the head drops back ever so slightly, gaze coming to the ceiling. Keep breathing. Exhale, slowly release back down. Well done. Take a little shake out, release through the wrists, the arms, the shoulders. Well done. And then what we'll do, keeping the legs, so everybody lengthen the legs out in front now, flex through the feet. Inhale, lift your ribs away from the hips, and then slowly start to walk the hands out in front, coming into a forward fold, Paschimottanasana. So hands could be coming to the thighs, the shins, maybe the feet, keeping the spine long, leading with the chest. On the inhale, making space. On the exhale, folding a little bit deeper. Slowly start to come up from the fold, come back into a comfortable seated position. Maybe you've crossed the legs, maybe the legs are out in front. And we'll close off the eyes for a moment here. Relax through the shoulders. Reconnect to your in-breaths and your out-breaths. You can start to take some releasing breaths here, inhaling through the nose, exhaling out through the mouth. Notice how your body feels after the stretching that you've just done. Notice any sensations, any areas of resistance or tension. Just being aware, not judging anything. Maybe you feel a little bit more open through the hips, the shoulders, the arms, the back. Keeping your eyes closed, take a couple of shoulder rolls. And then when you're ready, you can slowly start to open the eyes, perhaps taking the gaze to the floor somewhere in front of you. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I hope you enjoyed that stretchy flow today, and hopefully that's helped with some anti-desk stretches for some of you, or helped to explain some of the poses that are really great stretch for the shoulders and the hips, but sometimes they're quite complicated. So yeah, do as always comment, let me know your feedback below. Do subscribe to this channel, or if you want some more in-depth flows, practices, meditations, videos about alignment, then please do join my membership. Link is below to have a look at that. And yeah, I can't wait to see you again very soon. Bye bye.